Hey everyone, it's Miss Mac here with another short video. This will be a review of exponents. If you're already feeling pretty confident about exponents, this is an optional video. You can skip ahead to the video on multiplying and dividing powers or exponents lesson 1. We have two learning objectives for this video. The first learning objective is that we can write or we can identify the parts of a power. And the second objective is that we can write an expression in expanded and exponential forms. So our first key point is exponents are symbols used to show repeated multiplication. So the operation that we will be doing when we are using an exponent is multiplying. Exponential form is when an expression is used or is written using exponents. We also call something in exponential form a power. So when we see something written using exponents, we call that a power. In order to illustrate this, let's look at an example of the same expression written two ways. First, written in expanded form or repeating multiplication. You can see that over here on the left. In expanded form, we actually show all of the repeated multiplication that is happening. So we show 2 times itself 5 times. When we represent something in exponential form, like on the right, we are still showing 2 times itself 5 times, but rather than showing all of that multiplication, we have represented 2 times itself 5 times with the power 2 to the 5th power, or 2 and the exponent 5. So let's review the two really important parts to a power. The first really important part to a power is the base. In the example that we have here, 3 is the base, and the base is the number being multiplied by itself. So in this expression, we will be multiplying 3 by itself. The other important part of a power is the exponent. And in the example that we have here, our exponent is 4. And this tells us how many times we will multiply our base by itself. So in this example, we will be multiplying 3 times itself 4 times. We can read all of this together as 3 to the 4th power. So let's try a couple of examples here where we have to move back and forth between expanded form and exponential form. So in our first example, we have in exponential form 2 to the 6th power. So we know that this would be 2 times itself 6 times. Okay, and the value of 2 to the 6th power is 64. Next, we have 3 to the 7th power, and this means 3 times itself 7 times. And the value of 3 to the 7th power is 2,187. And finally, we have this example in expanded form, and we need to know what is the exponential form and what is the value. So in expanded form, we have 4 times itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So that would be 4 to the 7th power in exponential form. And if I multiply 4 times itself 7 times, I will get the number 16,384. Now we'll walk through a few examples together where we need to go back and forth between a value or a number and exponential form. So we want to first write 25 as a power of 5, which means we want 5 to be our base, and we will choose what exponent we need in order to get the number 25. So I know the number 25 can be broken up into two 5s. We have 5 times 5, and that gives us 25. Well, since I multiplied 5 times itself twice to get the number 25, the exponent I would use is 2, 5 to the second power. Next, we want to write 64 first as a power of 8, as a power of 4, and as a power of 2. So let's start with the power of 8. So we have the number 64, and we want to know how many 8s is that, or how many times would I multiply 8 by itself in order to get 64? Well, I would multiply 8 times 8, or 8 to the second power. But this time we want to write it with a base of 4. So we need to think, how many times would we multiply 4 by itself in order to get 64? Well, 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. So we would have the exponent 4 to the third power because we had to multiply 4 times itself 3 times in order to get 64. Now let's do the same thing with a base of 2. So we'll start with 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 again is 16, 16 times 2 is 32, and times 2 one more time would be 64. So we would need to multiply 2 times itself 6 times in order to get 64. So we have 2 to the 6th power. Finally, we want to be able to write 8 and 16 using exponents and the same base. So we want to know what number can be multiplied by itself in order to make both of these two numbers. One obvious answer that comes up is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. And while 4 does go into 8, I can't multiply 4 times itself any number of times to get the number 16. So the only other number that goes into both of these, other than 8, is 2. So I can use a base of 2 for each of these two expressions in order to make the numbers 8 and 16. So in order to make the number 8, I would need to multiply 2 times itself, 1, 2, 3 times, because 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8. So we could use the exponent 2 to the third power, and that would be equivalent to 8. In order to make the number 16, I would need to do the same thing that I just did, but then multiply by 2 one more time. So I would need to multiply 2 times itself 4 times, or 2 to the 4th power, would be equivalent to 16. All right, everyone, I hope that was a helpful review of exponents. If you still have questions, go ahead and watch that video one more time. If you're really struggling, shoot Ms. Mack an email. If you like this content, go ahead and hit the like button. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe now. Thanks for watching.